Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us for our monthly LinkedIn Lunch and Learn. My name is Adam Schrader. I am the co-founder and co-CEO of Premier Turnkey, and we are going to discuss how to never lose a deal over identification because we want you to be the qualified intermediary that people come to and know that they can close in that 180-day timeline, and they can easily find properties within the 45-day time frame because we know some people have issues with that 45-day timeline. And we're going to talk about what makes us different than the DST options that people have, and helping them invest in single-family, cash-flowing new construction assets. So as I mentioned, my name is Adam Schrader, the co-founder and co-CEO of Premier Turnkey. I've been investing in single-family real estate for the last about decade. Been in the turnkey space for the last 12 years, helping people build out their portfolios, planning their journey, because I think real estate is a place where you can significantly grow your net worth. You can help people, and everybody involved in the transaction can win. Currently, I have properties in, I believe, 4 different markets. Have bought and sold in 2 other markets as well. So I do have a diversified portfolio around the country, which we like to promote to people as, hey, don't just invest in one area. We want you diversified across the country.
And I'm Grant McMillan, also co-founder and co-CEO of Premier Turnkey, also a real estate investor. And prior to getting into real estate investing, or what got me into real estate investing, was my 10 plus years as a commercial lender at a regional bank in West Texas. During my time there, I mainly focused on single family construction, rehabs, flips, all sorts of different projects, all centered around construction. And so we're happy to have you here today. We're going to be able to talk really in depth about what we can do to offer another alternative to the DST. And with that, let's just dive in.
Oh, and I want to remind everybody, if you have questions, throw them in the Q&A and we'll answer them at the end.
So the problem is that many exchanges do not fail because the client lacks motivation. They fail because the client runs out of clear replacement property options before the identification deadline. What often happens, the client sells, the clock starts. That's a stressful time for you and the client. And then replacement options are often unclear. They don't know what they want to do. Do they want to go back into land? Do they want to go into a TIC or a triple net or a DST? Or in this case, what we're going to be talking about is turnkey. And so the client often will wait too long. It looks like you're pressing up on that 45-day identification window, and then they become rushed. And then you, as the partner that's trying to help them, you have limited options as to what you can say and what you can do. And so you're kind of limited in what you can put in front of them. And the result of this is a good client relationship becomes very stressful at the exact moment that they need confidence. So we're going to hopefully give you some confidence to be able to help get that over the hump and be able to close these deals.
Yeah. And so, like we said, the opportunity is you don't have to solve the client's exchange. We are here for a simple handoff. I know we get the question or the comment many times of, hey, I can't, directly tell people what to invest in. We are not asking for that. I want to make it very clear. We're not asking for you to say Premier Turnkey is the place, the only place you should talk to. They have your properties. No, it's simply a, hey, you need to identify, here is a group who has some stuff that might interest you, and then we will take it from there. It's literally an email to us saying, hey, Grant and Adam, meet my client, Joe. Joe is doing a 1031 exchange and is interested in talking with you about the services that you have to offer. And from there, you can just step back and let us take the charge. We have, as I mentioned, these off-market new construction properties, often leased, offered at wholesale pricing in great growing markets. We look at the median income and the growth there. We look at home ownership rates. We look at schools. We look at everything that's going to make an area successful, not just a single property on the cash flow. We look at the holistic long-term life of them holding this property. And that's our role. Your role is obviously to help them through their exchange and to get them to the people who can help them. Our role is to help understand what their long-term goals are and identify the properties that make sense for them. And the reason that we're able to really say we can solve your identification issues and not have it, be an issue and never lose a deal over that is because most of our properties are off market and they are first come, first serve. So no matter how hot the real estate market is or how cold the real estate market is, we have the deals for people to identify that nobody else has access to. So they will not lose these deals over the identification process. We also have everything they need to be successful. We have financing options for them. We have, the exact property tax amounts that we expect them to pay. We have insurance quotes for them to look at. We have lending options for them to look at. And we are there the whole way through the process, regardless of where they're purchasing in the country. And so we are there from step A to step Z to help them through that whole process.
And so, as you know, DSTs have become a really big solution for a lot of different exchangers over the past 20 years. We've had numerous conversations with DST providers as well as exchange specialists, and they keep saying that these have really come up, within the past 20 to 30 years and have been a really good solution for a lot of different people, but it's not the only solution. And so that's where we come in. A client may want that institutional style passive ownership, and they're comfortable with that pooled ownership, sponsor control, limited decision making. That's for a lot of people, but it's not for everyone. And where we come in is whenever people want to have that lower capital requirement, clearer property level control, the flexibility of financing and what they can and can't do, and have a tangible, easily divestible asset, a lesser hold time. A lot of these DSTs, you are required to be in it for up to 7 years and even more. And so this is only, whenever you can dispose of that asset based on the 1031 guidelines and rules, you can dispose of our properties. And then you have more say in the disposition of the asset. You can be as passive as you want. You can be as active as you want. Our role is to try and make it as passive as possible. I was having a conversation with a DST provider yesterday, and he said that when looking at us, Premier, and with his company, he said, yeah, we have higher upfront fees. We have longer expected hold times than you. We have, a sponsor managed structure rather than a owner sponsored or owner structure. And then they have limited say in the sell timing, whereas we have, or you as the owner would have more say in the sell or the timing of that sell. And so there's a lot of difference between the DST providers and what they have and what we offer. And so we just want to make it clear that they do have a role, but we also have a role, and we can fill that role as well.
Yep. And so how it works, as I mentioned before, is extremely simple. It's just a single email saying these guys are worth a look, and from there we take charge. We will schedule a call with them, and in the call it's a face-to-face. We do it virtually over Google Meet because we want them to see us, we want to see them, and we want to get to know them as people. And we don't just want to know, oh, you have $200,000 in exchange funds you need to deploy. Let's look at properties right away. What we do is we say, okay, you have $200,000. That gives you these options. But what are you looking to have your portfolio do in the next 5, 7, 10 years? We don't want to just look at the first year. We want to make sure that the property we're matching them with is the one that's going to fit their long-term goals, because we are not in this as just a day one go away thing. We're here to help them build their portfolio over those 10 years. And so we also want to be their accountability partner along the way, so that if they come to me in 3 years and say, Adam, I want to buy XYZ property, and I look at it and it's not what they told me that they wanted in their long-term investment criteria, we can have a discussion of, okay, why this property? Why are you changing your strategy to make sure that they stay on the path? And obviously in the future, they'll be doing 1031 exchanges on these properties, and we'll be sending them back to you so that we can make sure they get that correct property match for their 1031 exchange. We help them identify the property. We have a list of our properties that we can show them. We have them up on our website. We can send y'all the link to that if you want. And then we also have stuff that's not on the website. We just highlight one property in every market, but we've got probably anywhere from 3 to 15 properties in each market, if not more in some markets, that would fit certain criteria. So maybe they want a bigger house than what's on our website. We probably have that. Maybe they want a smaller house than what's on there. We have that as well. And then, we move them all the way through. We get them to the closing table, they close, and we keep you updated along the way. And then, as you see here, we stay involved throughout the closing process. And as I mentioned, we're even there after the closing process to help them with their long-term journey.
So some of the client benefits that we know that you can't necessarily push or talk about or anything like that, but we want you to be made aware because DSTs, they are, we hear all the time like, well, we can't push it, but then we see all these different exchange providers and QIs that are having DST providers on there, and they're talking about their benefits. So we just want to talk about some benefits that we have on our end that really kind of sweetens the deal and makes it a lot easier for people to get comfortable with the fact that, wait, they're not charging any upfront fees. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. DSTs are charging anywhere from a minimum of 10% upfront up to 20%. We've had those conversations. So some of the client benefits is we reimburse the client up to $1,500 of the base fee that you charge them. We know that you can't take a referral fee, but because we want to build that partnership with you and your team, we'll reimburse that client if they purchase a property through us, up to $1,500 per property. The inspection fee, whenever they close on a property, we'll reimburse that up to $500. We also have cash back on almost every property, with some equating to more than $53,000. You can use that to buy down the rate. You can use that as cash back or a combination. So it really depends on what they're trying to accomplish. The appraisal is covered by our recommended lender as long as they use them. And then we have several different partner perks. One of them is being that you get 20% back on their first successful property tax savings invoice. That does not go to us. That goes directly to your client, our client. And then our services are free. We are not charging your client anything at all. It's 100% free. We are paid by the seller of the property at the time of closing. Your client nor you would ever write a check to your Turnkey.
And so we also want to give you a property example. This is one that is in Conroe, Texas. That is a suburb of Houston, small town. Maybe you've heard of it. And so this one, it's $326,900. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage, 1,647 square feet, built in June of 2024, so roughly 2 years ago. It is leased through July of 2027. And if you look at a down payment of 25%, a loan amount of $245,000, cash down of $81,000, we can provide them with the wholesale pricing that we have and the wholesale options. We could potentially give them $42,000 cash back after they close, which would cover half of their down payment on this property. So they're able to use their exchange funds to purchase the property and then receive cash back afterwards. With some of these, this property included, not every single property, but with some of them, we're even able to lower the purchase price if they want. It just depends on what makes sense with their exchange. And this is one of the things we discover in our conversation with them is, hey, what makes the most sense for you? Does cash back make sense? Does rate buy down make sense? Does price reduction make sense? Because it's different for everyone along their journey. And so with this property, not only can they potentially get almost $43,000 back, they will still be cash flowing $404.53 a month, getting that. So they will be in the deal for roughly, if you look, roughly $40,000, and they'll be making roughly $5,000 a year in cash flow. So that would make their cash on cash somewhere in the 12% range, which is amazing for it, especially because in this area, homes have been appreciating over the last 10 years at somewhere around an 8 to 9% per year rate. Now, we're not saying that's going to continue forever, but with the population growth we've seen, the income growth we've seen, and everything else that's aligned in the area, it is set up for success long term. And so, this is just one example. We have properties all across Texas. I know I've seen here in the Q&A of where are the properties. Thank you for asking. Where they are, we are in the South, Southeast, and Midwest. So we have a ton of properties available in the Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio, Texas area. We have some duplexes up in Wichita, Kansas. We have a bunch of single family that's vacant in the surrounding Birmingham and Huntsville areas. We have some tenanted properties in Memphis, Tennessee. We've got some vacant properties in Georgia. And I believe every single one of those has a cashback option of some form along the way. So that's kind of where we are. And the price point, I see we also, somebody's interested in the price point, anywhere from roughly $200,000 up to around $400,000 for single families. And our duplexes are somewhere in that $400,000 to $500,000 range. Grant, I don't know if you want to grab any of these other questions. Let's see, we have a couple more.
Yeah, it looks
on
like
there.
we've got a couple that just dropped in. Do they have to be an accredited investor? No. That is a big sticking point for some different alternative investments. For buying properties through Premier Turnkey, you do not have to be an accredited investor. Also, I think you answered some of the other ones. I'm just reading through these.
Yeah.
Oh, how quickly can we identify a property? Today, literally the first time that we have a conversation with anyone, I believe, Adam, you had a conversation with a few people yesterday, and they already know that they want to buy in Memphis. And that was after one conversation. So we can do it immediately. We can usually have them under contract within 24, 48 hours, just depending on how quickly we can get with a local team and have them be able to provide us with that contract. But the timing and how quickly everything moves really is dependent upon how quickly that we can get everything from your client. So it's very, very quick. We can identify. We definitely want to have a conversation, make sure that it's going to fit their needs and their wants, and that it's going to, kind of fill that need as far as what their investment goals are. No, we're not offering investment advice or anything like that. We're consulting them on what we would do as a real estate investor ourselves. So we want to have those conversations, be able to put something in front of them that makes sense. But if they're under the gun and time crunch is there, they can literally have a property identified and under contract, I would say within 24 hours, very, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, if you sent me somebody, not that y'all have ever had someone come to you 43, 44 days into their exchange and say, hey, so I don't fully have everything solved. We would have a list where they could identify, obviously they wouldn't be under contract, but that's not the important part in the identification process, but we could say, hey, here's some addresses that you can write down on it. And I also want to say there's some people, I want to make it clear, we are also, if your person doesn't want it for the whole exchange, we are a great option for boot. So if somebody is buying, if someone's selling $1 million property and they want to buy a $900,000 property and they know that, but obviously they have that $100,000 and they're not going to be able to buy anything outright for the $100,000, we're a great option to come in and say, hey, finance 50% or 30% of a $200,000 or $250,000 house and cover the boot and not get taxed on it. We've done that for people as well. It's a great option, if they need that. I also see in here there's an average closing timeline, kind of how long does it take us? If somebody is desperate to close, I've closed a loan with our recommended lender in as little as 8 days. Now that was solely done because he was moving out of the country and moving to Thailand, but we don't recommend that. But we have that 135 days after they've identified. There's no real reason. All of our properties are complete. They're ready to go. There's no concern about that. And so that 180-day timeline has never been an issue with anything that we do. For the most part, you're looking at 20 to 45 days before they're closed. And so you can look like the savior who came in and made their deal actually happen. So I'm looking to see, I don't see any other questions. So with that, I want to thank everybody for coming today, spending some time with us here on our first Lunch and Learn. We'll have more to come. So thank you, everybody, and head on over to premierturnkey.rei.com. You can contact us there. You can also reach out, just send an email to contact@premierturnkey.rei.com, and we will help out you, and we'll answer any questions you have, and we'll help any client that you want to send our way. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us, and hope to help your clients as soon as possible.